climate change is very much a Jewish issue. We're reminded in the Midrash, not to destroy our world, because if we do after us, there won't be anyone left to repair it. And also, Tzedek takes its name from the text, justice, justice you shall pursue. And unfortunately, the result of climate change is that the world's poorest are the ones that are most affected. And I feel that if the Jewish community aren't being more responsible for trying to lessen the effects of climate change, then we're not really upholding the law of pursuing justice.
We've gone through a process in the past year of starting off with an environmental audit. We've actually looked at all of the travel that we do, anything we do that impacts negatively on the environment. So we have a very clear idea of our sort of carbon output and how much damage we're doing as a small organisation. And from the back of that, we've created an environmental management plan. I think the main three things are that we're part of the 10-10 campaign. Food sourcing is a very big issue. The final sort of major policy is a zero waste policy. So we are looking at every single thing that we use in this office being recycled, and also how we can get away with not using it in the first place. It's a plan that encompasses as much as we possibly can.
In addition to all the work that Dan just mentioned, we also, through our Jewish Global Citizenship Project, develop educational resources for young Jewish people in Jewish schools and youth movements and Chedurim. So we've got 2 educational packs at the moment. One is a resource all about climate change that looks at who's responsible for climate change, linking it to Jewish texts and values. And the other one is a sustainable development resource, which one of the activities, which you can find on the Big Green Jewish website as well, is an eco-footprint calculator for young people, where they can work out what their ecological footprint is and how many planets will be needed to sustain us if everybody lived the same way that they live. So we're really looking to engage young people in understanding what they can do on a daily basis as individuals and through their local communities, school communities, to make a difference. I
think, in fact, in the UK, you can get away without noticing the effects of climate to sort of greater extent. That's not the case at all with our partners in the developing world. Take our partners in India, Concord, who are basically subsistence farmers. That's how they earn their money. They're in the field all day long. The weather is absolutely critical to them and the environment that they're in. So as climate change becomes more and more of an issue, it's essentially traps thousands and thousands of more poor people living in the developing world. So it's creating far, far more of an issue than we have at the moment. So I would say that climate change in the next few years and beyond is going to be the most important issue to reducing levels of poverty. I mean, for example, around the west coast of Africa, there are various parts of the coast that some development organisations have actually pulled completely out of because they're going to be underwater in 10 years. So it's actually not possible to do development work there, leaving some of the most poorest people in the world without any hope. So I really think that as a development organisation, we have to take into account climate in everything we do.
On an individual level, for young people, for me, it's about encouraging young people to make informed choices so that every day, whether they choose to turn the tap on and off in between brushing their teeth or they're leaving their computer games on standby, they have an understanding that that is a choice, and that if they do choose to be slightly irresponsible in that it's having an effect not only on their children's future but on young people and the whole communities now living in the developing world.
If the Jewish community were to tackle the environment in a really meaningful way, it would be two-pronged, definitely. Firstly, it's about ourselves, it's about our own actions, what we do, really making a decision to cut the amount of carbon we use and just be careful in everyday life. And secondly, organisational. I think organisations have a responsibility to think about where they're sourcing their food from, using recycled materials, their carbon footprint. And I think that the 10-10 campaign is an ideal thing for both of those, as an individual and an organisation, for us to pledge in 2010 we're going to cut our emissions by 10%. I think is a great place to start. As I said, it's not that difficult, and I think it's something that we all really need to get on board with, and it will make a huge difference.